Tobago, good morning. It is 6:19 a.m. Welcome to Sunrise here on Tobago Updates Television. I am your host, Lavion Cupid. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We are coming to you live from the Port Mall downtown in the beautiful capital, Scarborough, right here on the island of Tobago. Today is a Monday, December 29th, 2025. We are almost to the end, 2025 culminating. How are we going to culminate the year? Are we reflecting? Are we taking today, tomorrow? Are we looking back? Where have we come from? Where are we going? What are we heading into come 2026? Besides Monday, January 12th, of course, that everybody is looking forward to, at least election night, that is, because as I've said before, we can't call any elections, right? Especially here on the island. Elections are won on election night, and yes, Tobago Updates Television, we will be bringing you ball by ball coverage on that day at the polls, from the morning that the polls open at 6 a.m. and all the way down till we have the last ballot counted. Again, thank you so much for joining me here this morning, waking up early and joining me on Sunrise. It's always a pleasure to be seated here before you. If you are viewing us via one of our social media channels, thank you so much. Digicel, Flow, or AMPLIA, thank you. I hope you had a wonderful Yuletide season. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas. I hope you woke up to your bread, your ham, your chocolate tea, and your family surrounded by love. As always, one of the first things I do here on a Sunrise is the morning brief, where we update you on all things current affairs in Tobago, Trinidad and Tobago as a wider entity, regionally and internationally. So jumping right into that this morning. The Tobago People's Party has refuted claims made by PNM candidate for Mason Hall North, Mariah Kwesi Devines, on Saturday night, who alleged that the future of the Unemployment Relief Program, URP, and CPEP employment was in jeopardy under the current administration. Reading from a document Devines claimed was sourced from the website of attorney Martin George, referencing a specific ruling from the High Court of Trinidad and Tobago, he emphasized that the judgment establishes a legal precedent, that the THA is bound by national policy directives set by the central government and cabinet. According to Devines, the court ruled that the THA cannot override or ignore these national policy directives, regardless of its own legislative agenda. However, in a media release yesterday evening, the TPP said the claims were false and reckless, stating that the THA had already received the funds from the Ministry of Finance to pay CPEP and URP workers for the fiscal year 2026. Another hot topic there. Staying in news of politics, leader and founder of the Progressive Democratic Patriots, Watson Duke, has made a call for party supporters to put aside internal differences and support the Tobago People's Party in the upcoming THA election. In a post to his social media yesterday, Duke wasted no time mincing words, saying that the objective was clear. The People's National Movement had no future as a governing body in Tobago. Once again, we see political leader there, Watson Duke, throwing his support behind the Farley Augustine-led Tobago People's Party, a political party he often refers to as birthed from his party, as a child of his. And so we look forward to see how this will unfold. Moving on, motorists in Trinidad and Tobago will face significantly higher traffic fines starting January 1st, 2026, following the publication of a new legal order published on Christmas Day. Legal notice number 471 confirms widespread increases in fixed penalties for motor vehicle offenses, many of which will double in cost. The move has garnered harsh criticism from online users and the opposition, who pointed out the stark contradiction following statements made by Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar in April 2024, when she criticized high traffic fines under the former PNM administration as a revenue-generating scheme and pledged to reduce penalties if she was elected. However, the Prime Minister sought to defend her government's decision, saying the fines will not affect law-abiding citizens but only those who seek to break the law. The PM said her administration made the decision based on public safety, noting that reckless drivers often endanger the lives of innocent road users. See a lot of uproar online from social media users, from citizens right here in Trinidad and Tobago prisons are not too pleased. And I mean, you're never too pleased when politicians differ in action from what their campaign promises would have been. And seeing as this administration campaign on when UNC wins, everybody wins. We're all hoping to win at some point in time. Moving on, a 72-year-old pensioner was left homeless after his house was destroyed by fire on Christmas Day. Cecil McKenna of Iron Ridge Bell Garden told police he noticed smoke outside his home after preparing a meal and briefly checked the premises but could not find the source before leaving. Later that day at around 5:30 p.m. he was informed that his home was on fire. When McKenna returned, his one-level, two-room wooden and galvanized home was fully engulfed in flames. Fire officers from the Roxborough Fire Station responded. However, the structure could not be saved. Investigations are continuing. Takes me back to Mr. Wood interview on Christmas Eve Day when he spoke about that community love that we have in Tobago. We're hoping to see that same community love extended to Mr. McKenna in this time. Taking a look regionally, Jamaican Prime Minister Andrew Holness has called on Caribbean nations to act with clarity and unity as they navigate an increasingly complex global environment. He made the appeal while handing over the chairmanship of CARICOM to St. Kitts and Nevis Prime Minister Dr. Terence Dew. In a year-end message published on CARICOM's website, Holness said the region's credibility depends on managing differences through diplomacy and cooperation rather than division, particularly during periods of uncertainty. Holness's comments come amid recent regional tensions, including disagreements over CARICOM's position on Venezuela and relations with the United States. While his remarks appear to address these issues, he did not directly reference Venezuela or comments made by Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar, who recently criticized CARICOM's stance. We see that this issue is going to take us all the way through into 2026. And of course, we are hoping for resolve. Diplomacy is always where we want to bet our cards. But I mean, also, we could never take our eyes off geopolitical tensions internationally. I think more and more we're edging toward countries, nations having to pick a side. Whose side are you on? And as much as you want to remain neutral, I think eventually one day it's going to come to that. Lesser of both evils type pick a side. And finally, internationally, the UK is to impose visa restrictions against people arriving from the Democratic Republic of Congo after its government failed to agree to measures allowing the return of illegal migrants and foreign national offenders. Ministers say the DRC has not made changes required under the toughening up of the UK's asylum rules announced in November. Fast-track visa processes will no longer apply to people from the country, while the Home Office said VIPs and politicians would no longer get preferential treatment when coming to the UK. Meanwhile, the Home Office said Angola and Namibia had agreed to step up efforts to take back their citizens having been threatened with sanctions alongside the DRC. So we see European countries, not only the US, trying to crack down on migration. An interesting conversation having there. When you look worldwide, after the UK would have colonized, about 75% of the world. And so it's fair to say that a lot of the fallout we see now with countries, especially African countries, not being able to stand on their own 2 feet, will have to fall on the backs of colonization. So now that you have citizens from these very same countries seeking a better life in your country that would have been built on the backs of these countries, it's a ticklish conversation. Where are we to stand on that? But that's it for your morning brief, bringing you updated with all things current affairs in Tobago, Trinidad and Tobago as a wider entity, regionally and internationally. You're probably wondering, Lavion, what conversation are we having this morning? Well, right before we took the Christmas break, the hot topic in Tobago was the alleged U.S. military base at the A.N.R. Robinson International Airport. Is it actually a base? The Prime Minister said the photo speaks for itself. Not very clear exactly what that means. So we sought some experts or some much more experienced opinion. And this morning we speak to none other than Captain Gary Griffith, former Commissioner of Police. And he's going to give us some insight, some intel, some information based on his experience, knowing that he would have been on military missions even in Haiti. So we look forward to that conversation with him this morning. Again, I want to thank you so much for joining us here on Sunrise, choosing Sunrise to wake you up this morning, choosing Tobago updates. And thank you for always making us number one. As we go for this break, I want you to enjoy the aerial view that our technical crew is working on for you outside. Beautiful, beautiful shot of our port. In the meantime, do me a favor and share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.
Christmas, Santa isn't the only one checking his list. At Lambo Credit Union, we're helping you give the gift that truly lasts. Introducing our Christmas Share Certificates. A gift of saving, a gift of security, a gift of love. Whether you're starting small or saving big, every share brings you closer to your dreams. Share Certificates starts as low as $100 up to $1,000 in share value. A Christmas Share Certificate isn't just a gift, it's a legacy, a promise, a head start for the ones you love. Give the gift of financial freedom this Christmas. Visit either branch of the Lambo Credit Union or call us at 639-5060 to learn more today. Lambo Credit Union, always here for you.
Get ready to rewind the clock and ring in 2026 80s style. Magdalena Grand Beach and Golf Resort invites you to an unforgettable New Year's Eve retro party on December 31st, 2025 at the Tobago Lounge from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. No babysitter? No problem. The kids' slumber party is on. Let the kids have their own night of fun while you dance the night away. All at the small cost of 100 TT per child. Early bird tickets $450 single and $800 per couples. For further details, you can contact us at 868-660-8500 or email guest.service@magdalenagrand.com.
Deltec Distributors Christmas Specials is here. Choose from our festive meat packages at unbeatable prices, perfect for your holiday feast. Hurry! Limited packages. Order now. Package 1, $4.99. 11 pounds of leg of Thai chicken, 5 pounds pork, 5 pounds turkey, 1 picnic ham, 1 1-liter pear jacks. Package 2, $4.99. 11 pounds leg of Thai chicken, 5 pounds pork, 5 pounds turkey cubes, 1 chicken ham, 1 1-liter pear jacks. Package 3, $600. 11 pounds leg of Thai chicken, 5 pounds pork, 5 pounds turkey wings, 1 whole turkey, 1 1-liter pear jack. Package 4, $535. 11 pounds leg of Thai chicken, 5 pounds pork, 5 pounds turkey wings, 3 pounds fish ham, 1 1-liter pear jacks for $359-5040 or 237-0102. Delivery available for just $20. Deltec Distributors, Main Road, Argyle, Tobago.
viewers, welcome back to Sunrise here on Tobago Updates Television. Thank you so much for staying with us as we dive right into conversations this morning. We have none other than Captain Gary Griffith joining us this morning as we talk about the alleged U.S. military base at the A.N.R. Robinson International Airport. Captain Griffith, good morning. Are you hearing me, sir?
Good morning to you and to your many viewers.
Yeah, you hear me, sir?
I am, yes, I'm hearing you. Are you hearing me?
Yes, sir, I am. Good morning. Thank you so much. Compliments
Good
of
morning.
the season to you and
Thank
your
you.
family, sir.
Same to you and to yours.
All right. And we're diving straight into the conversation. So right before we took the Christmas break, the conversation surrounding the U.S. military presence in Trinidad and Tobago moved up a bit. And the conversation was now, is there really a military base at A.N.R. Robinson International Airport after an aerial photo was made public from a local media house? Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessène answering the question was not quite direct. She said the photo speaks for itself. So from your experience, from your knowledge, could you please tell me, do you think that that is a military base being set up, already set up? What is it?
Yes, it is. Good morning again. It is a military base. What has happened, however, unfortunately, because of politics, the Prime Minister, and correctly so, she's aware that by using that word, those two words together, military base, it is automatically going to be used as ammunition by those who are opposed to the U.S. presence in Trinidad and Tobago and use that against the government. Because as soon as you hear military base, you think Tetron barracks, you think tanks, you think about missiles, thousands of troops, and an army getting ready for war. And that is the automatic concept that the average civilian will get. And the average civilian is the vast 99% of the country. So as soon as you use that word military base, but a military base is any area that is confined solely for military personnel that civilians do not have access to, and it is used as a secure area to prevent civilians from getting in, and it can be used to secure items, to secure equipment, as a holding area towards moving towards an objective, or even to secure radar. That is a base. There's nothing. There's some military bases abroad that will be 0.0004 kilometers. It will be smaller than a roti shop. There are some military bases with just 2 soldiers in it. And it's a small area. So the concept of saying, well, it is not a military base, she's doing that deliberately because she does not want. If you use that word, they're going to automatically inject fear into the country, and there's a reason for that. My take on it is that I am in support of the decision of the government to have the U.S. presence in Trinidad and Tobago. But I think how it is being sold to the country, people are not buying it, because how you sell is how people are going to buy it. And if there's not a proper marketing strategy to buy in to the concept of the importance of the U.S. presence here, it opens the windows of opportunity for persons to do things that can cause fear. So the other side is trying to inject fear deliberately for political purposes because of the upcoming election.
All right, so you're saying to me, Captain Griffith, that it is a military base, but is it that you're confirming that every military base is not for combat? Captain Griffith? All right, I think we're having a bit of a technical difficulty here, but I know that our technical team is working behind the scenes to get him back on. As we clarify, if a military base, as he just said, it is a military base. So is he saying that every military base is not for combat? But if it's even if it's not, are you hearing me now, sir?
Hello?
Sir?
Yes, I hear.
Yeah. I'm hearing you in and out. Are you hearing me better now?
No. Well, I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you now.
You're hearing me better now?
I am, yes.
All right,
yes.
Great. So right before we had that minor issue there, sir, you said that you confirmed that it is a military base. My question to you is it that you are confirming that not every military base is for combat purposes?
Correct. So the vast majority of military bases, the United States has over 100 military bases in Japan that have never seen combat. Some of those military bases in Japan, as I said, will have only about 2 military personnel in it. So let us take away from the perception that this is an area that is being used to secure, to prepare the U.S. for invasion against Venezuela. There's no need for them to put a launching pad in Trinidad and Tobago to use to attack Venezuela. The aircraft carriers and so forth, that alone could do what is required. So this whole concept about the military base being something that is going to be something that is to be used for attack. It's not. I was in Haiti with the United Nations mission. We lived in a tent for 6 months. We had portable toilets. We didn't have warm water. And it was a virtual desert. But it was a military base because it was an area that was confined. So when the Prime Minister speaks about it, because it didn't have toilet facilities and so forth, that doesn't matter. But the point is that the average citizen, for God's sake, common sense, if the radar belongs to the United States, who do you think is going to secure the radar? It's not going to be amalgamated. It's not going to be THA. It must be the United States. So if they have expensive equipment that they alone have the capability to understand how to use it, well, then obviously the United States must have U.S. personnel on the ground to secure the radar and to operationalize the radar. And again, it is the unfortunate thing is that I'll be hitting a bounce on both political sides here in Tobago, because you have one political leader foolishly stating that if we win, we are going to remove the radar. Brother, you don't have that authority. Stop believing that you're that powerful if the PNM wins the THA election. You're fooling yourself and you're trying to fool civilians, the citizens of Tobago. You do not have that authority. Furthermore, when politicians do that, he's doing that in the hope that this can be used as some degree of ammunition to win over support, using the concept of fear. But he's not thinking as a logical person, because if that radar is removed, or say the central government decides to take the pressure from if there's a newly appointed THA and it's removed, you're now putting Tobago at risk, because the one thing that is protecting Trinidad and Tobago from Venezuela is the United States presence. And I ask all citizens, and that is why the government is not throwing the sales pitch to explain to the country. The U.S. presence in the Southern Caribbean would always ensure that Venezuela will not pelt a big stone at us, because they fear the United States. They operate as a bully, and they will not tell the United States anything. The more U.S. threatens them, the more they speak about us. But they cannot hurt us if U.S. presence is there. So the PNM side of Tobago understand that. As it pertains to the Farley, Mr. Mann, when it is you say that you want to have control of the radar, to do what, Farley? To measure the speed of the GOAT race or the Great Race coming into Tobago? It is a stupid concept. We have the radar that Patrick Manning developed 17 years ago. Not one politician ever went into the facility to understand the concept or the feasibility of that 360-degree radar. What could you do if you have the radar, Farley? Do you know what the radar can do? Do you know the value of the radar? Do you have persons with the capability to understand how to utilize the radar? It's a very state who want to on the other side to remove the radar. I think Tobago deserves politicians that must have a greater degree of maturity and stop playing petty politics with Tobagonians.
Captain Griffith, I want to pivot a bit, but I want to make sure that I let you know that I want to come back to comments made by Venezuelan Justice Minister Diosdado Cabello recently. But back right here, the political landscape here in Tobago. About a week ago, when Chief Secretary Farley Augustine said, left up to him, the radar would not have been installed here, Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar said that she did not agree with his opinion, and it was his opinion to have. My question to you, sir, no, even before I go into that, let me just bring some more clarity. She said that the radar did help with the drug bust, and even if Tobago doesn't have that issue, Trinidad does. My question to you, sir, is there a specific reason you believe the radar was installed in Tobago and not Trinidad? If she thinks that it's needed more in Trinidad, is it because there are questions lingering, or whether or not this is the same radar that Grenada rejected? So is there something that we're missing? Is there longitude, latitude, something with the position where it needed to be, because Tobago and Grenada is positioned in the right place? Why Tobago? Why not Trinidad? If you have any knowledge or based on your expertise on that.
Yeah, sure. Again, with my knowledge on the concept of the radar, the Patrick Manning's radar, that 360-degree radar, it works. There are blind spots, yes. But I mean, whenever I take my vessel to Grenada, and by the way, you do not need to have a flag flown on your vessel, also to be known as a pirate ship. That was totally incorrect, by the way. It is known as a stateless vessel. as soon as I'll be 10 miles out and will be intercepted and escorted into Trinidad by Coast Guard. So that is what that radar will do. This radar is it's designed more towards being used to launch missiles and to intercept missiles. I'm trying to be as basic as possible for the average civilian to understand. That is what that radar could do. It is a portable radar. It's not like the Manning radar where it is you had several different locations. You had to put installations around to get a 360 degree. The reason why it was probably put in Tobago, and I mean, we need to be honest, that radar has to be, it is involved. It wasn't put there to stop and monitor drugs from entering Trinidad and Tobago. That is not what that radar is there for. That radar was put in that strategic location, probably because of the view towards that area of that exclusive economic zone between Tobago and Venezuela, so you could get all of the visual aspect of that could be seen that may not have been capable if it is you did it from Trinidad, and that is quite possible. So it will go to that debate: was should we have allowed the US to put a radar that they are using as a possible tool towards some degree of monitoring in Venezuela? That could be on for debate. But my point is, it has already happened. It is already there. If we remove that radar now, we are going to have to pay a very big price. We have no intercept capability. I want people to understand the serious nature of what Venezuela can do. Venezuela, and going back to your last point about what the defense minister said, Venezuela, 3 times before the cock crowed, have threatened Trinidad and Tobago. First, they stated that we were harboring terrorists and we were being used as a launching pad to attack Venezuela. And Venezuela said that they will go into any country to extract those persons. That was a threat to invade Trinidad and Tobago. 1, that was strike 1. 2, they then stated that Trinidad and Tobago is a territory of Venezuela. So whether people want to go back in history 200 years ago or whatever, you see that now, when people make a comment like that to believe that something belongs to them, eventually they're going to try to seize it, illegally or not. That was strike 2. And strike 3, the comment made by the defense minister, the typical bully that he is, and the regime, where instead of trying to attack and accuse United States because they're threatening Venezuela, Venezuela jumps and says, if the United States does anything to Venezuela, Trinidad and Tobago knows what will happen to them. So it's a typical bully. So you're in Form 3 and you're Form 3 students, and you're beating up. You want to beat up the Form 1 student because the Form 6 student is hitting you, tapping in the back of your head. That is the typical bully of what Venezuela is doing. But they have shown 3 times that they intend to have some degree of infiltration into Trinidad and Tobago. So that radar is going to be very instrumental, because if Venezuela fires, say, let me be blunt, 15 missiles, it is not going to be Venezuela invading Trinidad through boats or whatever. 15 missiles can hit Trinidad and Tobago. It is going to destroy every city, every port, every airport, the energy sector, the military installations. Trinidad and Tobago, it will take us decades to recover. We have nothing to protect that. You would have seen what was happening in the Middle East. There's something known as SAM, surface missiles. That radar can do that. So what should we require is to explain to the country, we need to protect ourselves. This is not a case of us just staying there and being humble and being meek and being defenseless so that Venezuela will not hurt us. They have threatened us. We must be prepared for the worst.
So, Captain Griffith, what you're saying is, without U.S. support, if we are to be attacked, Trinidad and Tobago, our military, we are not prepared at all for any sort of combat.
We'll be totally defenseless. I've been in the military in Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force for 17 years. We do not have the capability. In fact, it got worse. 35 years ago, when I was one of the youngest soldiers to serve the country during the attempted coup, we had something known as Armored Personnel Carriers, APC. Your people will see it if you watch the SWAT SWAT television series. We don't even have that. We still now have soldiers in the back of a pickup. So we have now gone backward in the last 35 years instead of moving forward. Our Coast Guard, I was able to get 12 garment vessels for 1.2 billion less than the 3 OPVs. And they have been defective for the last 10 years because the previous PNM administration refused to utilize it. So Coast Guard does not have the capability to even properly secure our the basic lines between the shoreline and 12 miles out, far less the exclusive economic zone. And then we have the Air Guard, where it is that when I was minister, we left the PNM government with 4 helicopters, 2 light aircraft, and all of that. Air Guard has nothing. We have 750 military personnel in Piarco Airport. They don't even have a kite to fly. And that shows the embarrassing situation we have with our present defense force. What if had I been the prime minister or advised the prime minister, we need to tell the United States we need capability, we need light aircraft, we need drones, we need helicopters again. They are donating it. I remember when I was minister, they were giving me 2 US destroyers at no cost in exchange for if they could get a feed of the radar, which I agreed to, because that is part of the role and function of the United States as it pertains to the Caribbean Basin Security Initiative, which is to assist in securing the Southern Caribbean, which is why they're involved in operations and training for the last few decades, from Caribbean Islands Nation Security Conference. They're training exercises with our military troops throughout CARICOM, the Transnational Organized Crime Unit. So the U.S. has justification to be here. The war itself, or the conflict with Venezuela, not our business, not our concern. We should not pick sides. But at this time, that radar is the first step towards ensuring some degree of security to protect us from any hostile attack by any external country.
Captain Griffith, right before we wrap, sir, the public trust, as you know, right now is at an all-time low, especially on this issue, because communication has not been that forthcoming. I mean, even having to see a New York Times post that would have clarified that there's GPS disruptions for domestic flights here in Trinidad and Tobago. Even the defense minister, the national security minister, not the homeland security, let me correct that, we haven't been getting that much forthcoming information. So my question to you is, if you are called upon for your expertise, will you be willing to assist the government of Trinidad and Tobago by assisting the people of Trinidad and Tobago as a wider entity in this very ticklish geopolitical tension time?
I will always be a patriot to my country, but before being that of a politician. I think I'll always be a soldier first, and then probably a police officer, and then a politician. So I have always been willing to give free advice. I do not need a job. I do not need a post. But I think what has happened now is that some of the individuals who are holding the positions, they seem to be intimidated. Sometimes the most dangerous thing is an ignorant person who has authority, where they do not want to listen, they do not want to take advice. They've actually blocked imagine Roger Alexander has actually blocked me from communicating because I'm advising him, Roger, the comments that you're making is not the right thing. It is inappropriate. And he's upset. But the fact is, unfortunately, both the commissioner and the Minister of Homeland Security, they were both below junior middle management. So both of them, previously, they would have been in charge of 10 persons. Now, one is in charge of 20,000, one is in charge of 7,000. Both of them had a budget of about $1,000 to see about. Now, one has a budget of $3 billion, the other has a budget of $6 billion. So you understand, if they don't have that capability, and this is not to criticize them, but when you don't have that capability, be willing to be humble and listen to what others have to say. I am not a tech expert, so when it is that or cybercrime or whatever, so as a commissioner, I will seek advice from those persons. If it is that you are a very junior person, you are not even in the police executive, none of them, listen to persons. The Minister of Defense, likewise, he is very green. He has no qualification, training, or experience in the military, which I drafted that Ministry of Defense specifically to ensure that we can be prepared for a situation like this. And what he's doing now is, if the West Indies lost the test series against New Zealand 2-0 and they ask him why, he will turn to standing order 27 based on national security concern that he can't give the answer. So he's playing it safe. The other two persons I spoke about, Roger Alexander and the commissioner, they refused to take advice. But what I recommended to the Prime Minister, it doesn't have to be Gary Griffith, but they are qualified persons who may not be aware. They have trained in the same academy as that same general who came here to eat doubles. They went in the same academy, they graduated with him. And these previous chiefs of defense staff who have decades of experience prepared for the same situation. What she needs is a war room, a retired Joint Chiefs of Staff to have persons advisor. The government has no one. The most senior person in the military was a Lance Corporal, retired. So he was in charge of about 4 persons. The most senior person in the police service was the President Commissioner and the Minister of Homeland Security, as I said, who were in charge of 10 persons. So we do not have that expertise around the Prime Minister. So what it will turn to is do a photo up to eat doubles or something, where there's a lot that can be done. So we just hope that experience is there, and we put aside the politics. You don't have to have a UNC party card. The party card should be that of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago.
All right. Captain Griffith, thank you so very much for taking time off your Utile season and celebration for speaking with us this morning. Always a pleasure having you on, sir. All right, viewers, so that is it for Sunrise here this morning. We were speaking to Captain Gary Griffith about the alleged U.S. military base, and he giving confirmation that it is a military base positioned at the A.N.R. Robinson International Airport, but clarifying that not all bases are for combat purposes. Again, thank you so much, but you know what? The programming here on Tobago Updates Television is never done. We head on over to the morning show with the lovely Vanessa. Vanessa, good morning.
Good morning, Lavian. You look so lovely this morning.
Oh, I'm not hearing you. Good morning. How are you? I am hearing you now.
Awesome. How was your Christmas?
It was nice. I slept a lot. I did a lot of reading, and then I slept. I cooked, and I slept, and I read. Yeah, that's what I did.
That sounds really chill. I know a lot of people, their Christmas was probably busy and bustling, family up and down. But it's just good to sometimes just relax for the holidays, enjoy that peace and quiet, allowing you to reflect on the year that you've had and the year that you have upcoming.
Now we're in New Year's resolution era. I take my resolutions very seriously. I'm a ticker. I like to write things down and tick them off as I go along. So what about you?
I think I'm always doing New Year's resolutions. It's something that I do throughout the year because I believe that when you wait for the end of the year to do certain things, things get missed. So if you start maybe at the middle of the year, maybe 2 months in, and you're always reinventing yourself, you give yourself that opportunity to start before waiting for a new year to begin.
Of course, it's never ever too late. Well, I know you have a lovely show packed as we come to the end of the year. We culminate 2025 and wish you a lovely, lovely day. It's you alone this morning?
Yes, it's me alone this morning.
All right. I can love you. Good morning, wherever you are. Let's have a lovely, lovely day. All right. I'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you. Same to you.
All right, viewers. So that's it for Sunrise here on Tobago Updates Television. Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow for another packed show as we count down to Monday, January 12th, 2026. And wish you a fantastic day. See you tomorrow.
Tobago's funeral home, where we celebrate life's precious moments. From the moment you enter our doors, you're met with kindness and care. Our reception area is designed to be more than just a waiting room. It is a place of calm, thoughtfully created to ease the weight of grief. In our private conference room, conversations are guided by empathy. Here, our client experience coordinators sit beside you, not just across the table to help plan a service that truly reflects your loved one's story. Whether it's a traditional farewell or a personalized celebration of life, we take time to understand your wishes and offer thoughtful guidance. At the heart of our organization is a dedicated manager who ensures that everything runs smoothly, from the smallest detail to the final farewell. understand that choosing a casket or a coffin is a deeply personal decision. In our selection room, we provide a calm, respectful environment where families can take their time and explore options. Options that reflect their loved one's life, beliefs, and preference. Our spacious chapel is where memories are honored and lives are celebrated. Designed with serenity and warmth, it provides a welcoming space for families and friends to come together in reflection and remembrance. For families choosing cremation, we offer on-site professional cremation services in a setting that upholds dignity, peace, and confidentiality. Our crematorium offers a seamless and respectful alternative to traditional burial, giving families flexibility while maintaining the highest standard of care.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning and welcome to Tobago Updates Morning Show. It is Monday, 29 December 2025. We are getting closer to Election Day and it's also closer to the end of the new year. I am your host, Renessa Ortiz. Wherever you're viewing us from, thank you for joining us yet another morning. You're viewing us here live in the Port Moore Scarborough. And this morning we have quite a packed rundown for you this morning. But before we get into that, I just want to go into news in 90 seconds. And here's what's making news in 90 seconds for Monday, December 29th, 2025. The Tobago's People's Party has refuted claims made by PNM candidate for Mason Hall North Mariah, Kwesi Devines, on Saturday night, who alleged that the future of unemployment relief program and CPEP employment was in jeopardy under the current administration. Reading from a document, Devines claimed was sourced from the website of attorney Martin George, referencing a specific ruling from the High Court of Trinidad and Tobago. He emphasized that the judgment establishes a legal precedent that the THA is bound by national policy directives set by the central government and the cabinet. According to Devines, the court ruled that the THA cannot override or ignore these national policy directives regardless of its own legislative agenda. However, in a media release yesterday evening, the TPP said the claims were false and reckless, stating that the THA had already received funds from the Ministry of Finance to pay CPEP and URP workers for the fiscal year 2026. Up next, motorists in Trinidad and Tobago will face significantly higher traffic fines starting January 1st, 2026, following the publication of a new legal order published on Christmas Day. Legal Notice Number 471 confirms widespread increases in fixed penalties for motor vehicle offences, many of which will double in cost. The move has garnered harsh criticism from online users and the opposition, who pointed out the stark contradiction following statements made by Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar in April 2024 when she criticized high traffic fines under the former PNM administration as a revenue-generating scheme and pledged to reduce penalties if elected. However, the Prime Minister sought to defend her government's decision, saying the fines will not affect law-abiding citizens, but only those who seek to break the law. The Prime Minister said her administration made the decision based on public safety, noting that reckless drivers often endanger the lives of innocent road users. And finally, in some unfortunate news, a 72-year-old pensioner was left homeless after his home was destroyed by fire on Christmas Day. Cecil McKenna of Iron Ridge Belgarden told police he noticed smoke outside his home after preparing a meal and briefly checked the premises but could not find the source before leaving. Later that day at around 5:30 p.m., he was informed that his home was on fire. When McKenna returned, his one-level, two-bedroom wooden and galvanized home was fully engulfed in flames. Fire officers from the Roxborough Fire Station responded, however, the structure could not be saved. Investigations are continuing. These and other stories in our major newscast at 6:30 p.m. Be viewing Tobago Updates Television, and that was your news in 90 seconds. Now, we had quite a weekend. We had so much things here going on the island of Tobago. I know yesterday they had the Tobago is We Cultural Showcase. We also had the boating event and the drag racing event here in Scarborough. There was a lot going on. Now, before we head on into the show a bit further, we're going to go on to our birthday segment. We're celebrating with those who have sent their birthday shout-outs to families and loved ones. And we're going to go up first with Miss Keisha Sandy. Happy birthday to you, Keisha. We're wishing you a very delightful day. Sorry, Keisha Andrews, my apologies. A happy birthday to you this morning. We're wishing that you're going to be showered all the blessings from above, that God continues to richly bless you, and this year is filled with prosperity and joy. Up next, we have Miss Anya Elias. Happy birthday from the Tobago Updates family. And as Dwayne would like to say on a Wednesday morning, if you have cake and ice cream, please ensure to drop it off. We would welcome and appreciate it so much. We wish you a very blessed day today, and that it is safe and a fulfilled one. And that's it this morning for birthday shout-outs. Remember, if you have anything celebrating that you would like to share on Tobago Updates, be sure to send it in to us so we can celebrate here with you. Now I'm going to go into the rundown. For this morning, we have quite, we're picking up on the election season. So we have some interviews here this morning that is based on the THA election, and we also have some crime updates. So this morning we have with us Ricky Jofield. He is the TPP candidate for Darrell Spring WIM, and we're going to be diving a bit into who the man is, who is the person, and why should you choose him as your area representative for Darrell Spring WIM. And after that interview, we'll be going into an interview with the TTPS and its crime updates over the Christmas weekend. We want you to stay tuned, and we'll be right back after the break to talk to Mr. Ricky Jofield about his upcoming debut, not just his debut, but also his prospective representative for his constituency, in this upcoming THA election. Remember to share the live, and we'll be right back.
Get ready to rewind the clock and ring in 2026 80s style. Magdalena Grand Beach and Golf Resort invites you to an unforgettable New Year's Eve retro party on December 31st, 2025 at the Tobago Lounge from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. No babysitter? No problem. The kids' slumber party is on. Let the kids have their own night of fun while you dance the night away. All at the small cost of 100 TT per child. Early bird tickets are $450 single and $800 for couples. For further details, you can contact us at 868-660-8500 or email guest.service@magdalenagrand.com.
Our world is filled with rhythm. Rhythm that's unapologetic, infectious, timeless. Rhythm is commitment in action. It's how we show up for each other with unrelenting support that goes the distance. Rhythm lives in the tiny beats of our most intimate moments and the seismic roars of our biggest achievements. Rhythm is resilience in motion. So even when things go out of sync, we do what it takes to bring the rhythm back. At Flow, we understand your rhythm because we live it. That's why we're dedicated to building a network as resilient as you, with a team of familiar faces working every day to keep you on beat. You're at the heart of everything we do, and our commitment is to keep your rhythm flowing, no matter what.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning and welcome back to Tobago Updates. This morning we continue our conversations, and today we're getting to know one of the prospective candidates for the Darrell Spring constituent district. I was made to be corrected over the break. It's district here in Tobago and not constituency. And joining us is Mr. Ricky Jofield, a man who has spent over 18 years in public service within the field of planning and development, and who also brings experience as an entrepreneur across several industries right here in Tobago. Now, many people entering politics, it's no easy feat, and especially when you're new to the arena. So today's conversation is really about getting to understand him, the man behind the candidacy, his journey, his values, and what has motivated him to step forward at this time. Mr. Jofield, good morning and thank you for being here with us.
Hi, good morning, Regissa, and good morning to Tobago. How are you?
Thank you so much for joining us. Now, the public has been seeing your image with the words, born to serve. What does serve mean to you personally, and how has that guided your life so far?
Okay, so as you indicated in my bio, I've been in the public space for a number of years in different perspectives. I have served in the public service. I worked at Town Country Planning for almost 18 years. I also have my own business during that tenure. Started off with a clothing store. I also had a restaurant and bar prior to that. And to date, I still have a restaurant and bar, new restaurant and bar, which is called Lost Restaurant and Bar, which is located at Lowlands Mall, Tobago. So I'm no stranger to serving people. In all those aspects, when I worked at Town Country Planning, I started off working as the front desk clerk and worked my way up to being the GSI officer inside of there. So I know about serving people. With my history in the community, in taking part in a lot of community activities, I understand or understood how service impacts a community positively, right? So I will say, based on my experience, I was born to serve, and I was born to serve the people of Tobago.
Awesome. Now, you touched two of my questions with that answer already.
So you can continue asking.
So from your experience, what are some of the common challenges you've seen when it comes to development actually reaching communities, especially with your background in planning and development?
Okay, so development is something that has to be done strategically in order for it to reach to the people. When development is done sporadically, it does not attain the goal that it was set out or intended to achieve. So, in terms of strategic development planning, I will say things have to be done properly, for lack of better words, in order to reach its fulfill its true capabilities. So, for instance, you cannot really build a community by only investing in infrastructure routes. You have to also invest in the actual core of the community. You have to invest in the human resource, the human stock within a community in order to build a vibrant community, to build so you can be able to give them opportunities for economic growth, not only for the community, but for themselves and for their families.
Awesome. Now, as you're entering now as the area representative, your potential area representative, prior to being in this position, were there any projects you were part of in the Darrell Spring WIM area that you are proud to say you have spearheaded some of these things and implemented for that community?
Okay, so if anybody knows me, I'm always involved in stuff. But prior to this, I've always been basically in the background, pulling the strings in the background because of my experience in both public sector and private sector. So I was a part of the WIM school, the WIM Anglican PTA. When the PTA school decided to do its jazz festival for kids called Waji, they called on me to assist with that. So I was in the background helping putting those things together. I'm also involved in other things, not only in the district of Darrell Spring WIM, but in the wider Tobago. So, for instance, I'm also one of the owners and band leaders of Iconic Mass. So I'm also in the planning committee of that also. So I've been involved, I've been there doing the work, but most times in the background. So with this, it's my turn to come forth and give my expertise to the people of my district.
And we see where the planning is very much integral in you, the man, because if you're part of the committee for Iconic Mass, you're part of the planning committee for the jazz experience for the PT at WIM Anglican. It shows that is something that is ingrained in you and something the public would be looking forward to seeing you implement if you are selected as the area representative for Darrell Spring WIM. Now, you've described as an experienced entrepreneur with ventures in construction, event promotion, retail, clothing, restaurant management, and mass brand production. That's very diverse. Now, what drew you to entrepreneurship?
Just as serving, it was in my blood. I've always been a very ambitious young man, and I'm one of those young people who I don't say I can't. So when opportunities come to me, I always run at it. So what drew me to entrepreneurship is I saw where it is I can be a very successful entrepreneur within the Tobago space. You know, contrary to the popular beliefs. You know, most people believe that in Tobago you cannot really make it in business. But I won't sit and say that is impossible. So my first business that I actually got into was a business co-owned with my mother, which is Urban Fashions. We had a location at the Lowlands Mall. I was a person who was always into fashion, looking nice, having myself put together well. I will boast and say that. So it was very much easy to get into that industry. So when the opportunity came and my mother said, Ricky, let's open a clothing store. I was like, okay, let's go. We jumped on a plane and we went, got this stuff, opened the store and got it running. We were existing for almost 18 years. Or 19 years, yeah.
So you have a solid career and business background. Why make the move into politics?
I would say it wasn't like a straightforward, easy decision. Because as I said, serving and entrepreneurship was always in my blood. But when it is you are part of a community and a part of a country where, if it is to be honest with ourselves, a lot of us sit in solace and always complain about things that Tobago isn't receiving, things that is not happening in Tobago. There's a lot of complaints within the space. And I always tell myself, why complain instead of trying to fix the problem? So, even getting into this, a lot of people were saying, this wouldn't happen and this isn't possible and this cannot happen. As I said, I do not focus my life on using can'ts and won'ts and don'ts. I focus my life on positivity because I prefer to try and fail than fail to try. So I will encourage anybody within the Tobago space to put themselves forward to serve the community of Tobago, to serve the people of Tobago, because we need level-minded individuals in governance to be able to push this country forward. So instead of sitting on the bars and sitting in the barbershops and sitting on the block and complaining, I tell myself, okay, I won't be doing that. I will put myself forward to give my expertise back to my country. You know, I might say something that sounds very cliche. It's like when JFK said, it's not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. Is a motto that I live my life by. Because at the end of the day, I want to see myself living here. I'm also a father of 4 children, and I intend my children to live here also. So I want to be able to be a very safe, comfortable, and a very exciting place for them to live in.
Awesome. Now, I know you mentioned that usually we sit back and we complain about the things that aren't being changed, but we aren't the ones that are making the change. We're not putting ourselves up for service.
Yeah.
Now, what particular moment or issues really sparked inside of you to ensure that you were going to make this step to be a candidate or to screen for candidacy with the TPP? Because you said there are issues. Is there any particular issue you'd like to share with Tobago that you are very passionate about, that you would like to have a part in playing and solving? As you said, you have 4 children and you want to make the future Tobago better for them.
Yeah, so as you indicated before, I worked at town country planning for almost 18 years. That is almost my whole life, my adult working life. So I have a keen understanding of development and development control and strategic development. So getting into this is putting my expertise forward to make Tobago a better place. Some of the issues like, okay, so when it is I was screened and selected to be the candidate for Darrell Spring Win for the TPP, my team and we hit the ground running almost immediately. So for the last couple of weeks, I've been walking and talking to people in the district, and one of the main concerns that you keep hearing people saying, even it was very much overwhelming when you hear all the people say that Tobago is too stagnant, which is a sentiment that most Tobagonians, if they're to be honest with themselves, is something that they say all the time. Tobago is too stagnant, Tobago isn't going nowhere, Tobago is the same way. These are some of the things that actually spurred me to get into this, because if it is you know to yourself that you have the understanding and the know-how, and based on my experience, I know all the pros and the cons within the Tobago space. Why not put myself forward to try and help the situation? Why not put myself forward to put Tobago forward, or put Tobago where it should be, as our tagline say, to make Tobago the greatest little island in the earth? Why not put yourself forward?
Some very, very strong sentiments by you, Ricky. But before we continue the conversation, we're going to take a short break. And when we come back, viewers, we're going to continue conversations with Ricky Jopil as he would now go into some of the plans he has for his community once he is selected. Remember to share the live, share the live, share the live, and we'll be right back.
Welcome to Tobago Glass Supplies Limited, where innovation meets excellence and service reigns supreme. Our commitment is simple: to provide high-quality, innovative aluminum, vinyl, and glass solutions for both commercial and residential spaces. At TGSL, we don't just meet needs, we exceed expectations. Our range includes the finest aluminum cladding options, setting new standards in durability and style. Driven by our passion to elevate, we aim to be the leading supplier in the Caribbean market while retaining our identity as a family-owned business. Because at Tobago Glass Supplies Limited, it's not just about products. It's about relationships. It's about you. Innovation, quality, service. That's Tobago Glass Supplies Limited.
Coconut's Cafe, the buffet restaurant that specializes in all your tasty local dishes. For breakfast and for lunch. Breakfast includes coconut bake and sada roti, served with chokers, bull joil, and sausages in tomato sauce. Not forgetting beef and cheese pies, shepherd's pie, macaroni pie, and rice in various styles. Meat served in a variety of flavors, garden salads, and pasta salads. All this accompanied by fruit juices, coconut water, your choice of a great combination to appease your taste buds. So call us today to order, as we are here to accommodate your busy schedules, or if you are having a cooking day off.
a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back. We're here with Ricky Jofield and we're continuing the conversation about the man behind the candidacy and what he intends to do for his district, provided that he is selected as the candidate as the representative for Darrell Spring WIM. Hello, Ricky, and welcome back again.
Hi, how are you, Anissa?
So now we're going to talk about your vision and the prospective representation that you would have for Darrell Spring WIM. So you chose to align yourself with the Tobago's People Party, yes. Tobago People's Party.
Yes.
Now, what about the TPP's vision made you feel that this was the right platform for you?
Okay, so the TPP is a party, I would say, is a Tobago-centric party, which is very important to the people of Tobago. If you understand the philosophy that the THA was actually made or created under, which is the devolution of powers, is bringing the services and the governance closer to the people by the people. The TPP is the only party that is controlled and run by Tobagonians. And in that aspect, we are the people here will have a keen understanding of the needs of Tobagonians and what Tobago needs to put itself to that next level. We are not taking instructions from over the waters. Our instructions come directly from here. So this is the reason why when I look at the TPP, I will say the TPP is the best party to govern Tobago and run its affairs because we understand and know what the people of Tobago needs.
In our earlier conversations, you spoke about the importance of strategy when it comes to development and implementing certain programs within communities. Now, how does the party's approach align with your own values around development and service? I know you aligned with them because they are Tobago-centric.
Yes.
But how are they aligning with the values that you have for yourself and what you want to implement, provided that you are selected as the Darrell Spring WIM candidate?
Okay, so over the years being in the Tobago space, as I said prior, you know, some of the sentiments that people say is that Tobago is too stagnant and Tobago isn't going nowhere. I say that will come about by people only speaking and not implementing what they need to do to push this island forward. I always deem Tobago as being one of those territories that you can say is a virgin territory. As much as we have been existing for so many years, there are so many things that this island is capable of doing and capable of achieving, but we just haven't tapped into it properly as of to date. I see where it is the TPP because it's a Tobago-centric party and understands what this island needs. We are the party that will drive Tobago to where it should be and which it is intending to go. Right?
So as you interact with some of the residents of Darrell Spring WIM, and you mentioned earlier that they are talking about it being very stagnant, is there any other issues that have been raised while you have been interacting with the residents?
Yes, there are many issues. I would say the district of Darrell Spring WIM is a very unique district. It's a very family-oriented district. It's one of the few districts, even though we comprise of half of Scarborough, the area of Darrell Spring, St. Cecile, AMPLIA, WIM, and other environs is a family-centric communities. When you go there, when you go into yards, it's like not only one generation of family living there.
There are so many,
yeah, several generations living inside there. And the reason why people say it's stagnant is because if the older heads are saying this is exactly how it was when they were younger, and today it's almost the same, this is why people will give the sentiments that nothing has been done or the place is just stagnant. One of the concerns I will say that residents also express is job opportunities, also educational opportunities, right? Yes, yeah.
So what are your plans to rectify some of these issues? Even if it's just one, can you lay it out for the public or your potential, the persons who would be selecting and putting at X on election day, can you give them some ideas of what you would be doing to ensure that stagnation is minimized?
So as I see, right, the District of Darrell Spring Women is very unique. So apart from being a very family-oriented or family-centric community, Darrell Spring Women, the residents of Darrell Spring Women, I will say are some of the most talented people on the island. I can say that proudly. We are some of the most talented people on the island. We have a lot of potential, but the potential is not tapped into or even invested into properly. So one of the initiatives that I put forward is, let's start with the community of women. So there's a hard court in Wim, and that's on the Plymouth Road, right? It's close to the community center. When you look at that area, there's so much other things that can be done there. So there's a community center on one side of the street, and then there's the hard court. At the hard court, there isn't any bathroom facilities or anything like that. And then there's a big empty plot of land there. So one of the things I propose is to turn that whole area into an integrated commercial district. Like in most of the other districts in Tobago, an integrated facility. I propose to set up an integrated facility there to house some of these people, with these talents, to be able to apply their trade. Because one of the issues of even being in business, I can tell you, real estate is not at the price where most people can afford, especially when starting off a business. So if it is, we can give us subsidized, plaza or facilities where people can go and apply their trade, I think it will help boost the entrepreneurial spirit amongst the people, and also boost the economic stability. Because at the end of the day, we can see that the government cannot hire everybody. The government of Tobago cannot hire everybody in Tobago. So I would love to push, because of my experience in entrepreneurship, push that on the people of Darrell Spring Women to be able to empower themselves. Even in Darrell Spring, there's a lot of talented people there. When you walk through the community, you see people plying their trades, selling stuff on the streets. Why not create avenues where it is they can get to express themselves in a more tangible economic way?
So if you're successful in the upcoming THA elections, what are some realistic goals you would like to see implemented within the first year?
Within the first year?
Yeah, within the first year.
Well, if it is to be realistic, I don't like to use the word easy, but the easy way out is to fix the infrastructure in the community. As much as most people say it's a difficulty to do these things, I don't see it as being difficult. Actually coming from the construction industry also. So there are many areas in Darrell Spring where, so in planning, right, there's something what we call when properties are land strapped, meaning there are properties but people are living there but there's no access to get there. You will imagine that a community that comprises half of Scarborough and is so close to Scarborough, you wouldn't have these issues. But walking in communities, I've seen many people, many families have to walk through tracks, have to cross drains, have to walk through bush to get to their homes. I think these things in this day and age shouldn't be so. So one of my realistic goals is to actually start doing infrastructural works to assist with these people to get to their properties. And I won't sit here and say that it can't be done. It could be done. So that is one of the first things I will be trying to fix, if we are to be realistic, fixing most of these infrastructural problems that we have within the community. As I said before, in terms of the integrated facility, I know that will be more of a long-term goal, but I still see it being achieved within the near future, not too distant future.
Now, a lot of persons, when they are choosing to select their representative, oftentimes they go based on what is told to them, the promises that are made. How do you intend to keep yourself accountable, given if you are successful, and ensuring that you manage these expectations and these things that you are saying in the public domain, that you actually follow through on these things? So
if it is you listen to me on my campaign trail, right, I very rarely use the word promise, because I always say a promise is a comfort to a fool. When it is I put my stamp and my assurance to certain things, I will make sure it's done. So what I'm saying here, these things are not promises. These things are things that I will work very hard in order to achieve.
And as someone new to the political arena, what do you see as your biggest strength, and what are some of the things you are still learning? Because I know it's very easy to put yourself out as a leader and you want to put yourself in this way that you're going to serve, but there are things people don't think that you would experience, such as fear or maybe even the ability to actually push through, and people believe that you're probably coming in with all the confidence and all the know-how. But what is your assurance to them that no matter what, you are going to be the person that is there ensuring that you are leading the charge for them?
So I will tell people, as much as I'm new to the political game, I'm not new to the Tobago space, as indicated before. I've been in business for almost my whole life. I've also been in the public service for my whole life. Managing the two isn't an easy job. And as I said, I'm a father of 4, so managing the 3 isn't an easy job. So based on that and my experience, I know what I should say. I know how to get things done. I know how to build things from scratch. As I indicated in one of my speeches, a friend of mine who is also a very prominent business person in Tobago, when he heard I was going into this journey, he called me and he said, Ricky, I want you to make sure and understand to yourself and also tell the people that you're a person that builds. Not only build with your hand in construction, but you're a person that builds industries, you build companies, and also you also build the lives of the people around you. Please remind the people of that, because he has been watching me for several years and seen my growth within Tobago. And to get that statement from someone that is like really big in the Tobago space, to get that compliment from them was really humbling to me. It also gave me the confidence that yes, I can do it, and I can do it for the people of my district and Tobago by extension.
Now, Mr. Jofield, finally, as we wrap up this interview, what message would you like to leave with the people of Darrell Spring Wim who may still be undecided about who to support?
So I would tell the people of Darrell Spring Wim that Ricky Michael Jofield is a guy that is here to serve you. I will dedicate my life to the service of my community and not the life of anyone else but Tobago and the district of Darrell Spring Wim. I'm here for you. I'm here to serve you at the end of the day. And you can call on me at any time and sleep easily knowing that I'm here leading the charge to bring Darrell Spring Wim and Tobago into the greatest little island on the planet.
And Tobago, there you have it. It's one of our candidates for the upcoming THA election, Mr. Ricky Jofield for Darrell Spring Wim, here showcasing his journey, his legacy, and some of the things he intends to do if he is successful in the upcoming THA election. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, and thank you for coming to share with the public and your electorate what you intend to do for them. And to Tobago, continue to view Tobago updates. We'll be right back, and remember to share the live, share the live, share the live.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO, and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
This is how it's gonna go. They better look up and look, 'cause this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look up and look. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show. Do more, live more.
Who said the elderly can't have fun too? We talking good food, proper music, lots of games, and a day at the beach they will never forget. From the time we left the compound at Heavenly Care Home for the Elderly, the vibe was already established. Wheels up and seatbelts on. Watch now, when we touched down in Pigeon Point, everybody was ready for excitement. But before anything could take place, we had to secure our bellies. You ever play bingo by the beachside? Well, that was the first activity on the roster, and boy did these seniors have fun. However, others wanted something more physical, so we brought out the ring toss, and not even arthritis could have stopped them. Well, I was blown away at how straight these people were. Are you sure this is a home for the elderly? Nothing beats a Jet 2 holiday, but nothing beats the song of Good Steel Pan by the shores while we take a dip in Tobago's finest water. Wait, more food again? This is my type of event. The energy was amazing and nothing short of a blessing. Pick up Heavenly Care Home for the Elderly, because joy doesn't retire, laughter doesn't age, and memories like these last forever.
To a stranger.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning and welcome back to Tobago Updates Morning Show. It's Monday, 29 December, and we are in studio live from the Port Mall. Joining us this morning, we have ASP Sharon Williams, and she's here to talk about crime updates over the Christmas season and to dive a little bit into the whole issue of the fireworks that we have been seeing online. Good morning and welcome, ASP Williams.
Okay, thank you, and it's happy to be here.
Now, to begin, can you give us an overview of crime activity in Tobago over the Christmas weekend? Were there any major incidents the public should be aware of?
All right, over the Christmas week, at as early as Christmas Day, we had some incidents of robberies. We still have a challenge with the breaking offenses, right? And you know, during that week leading up to Christmas, where we had the initiative, right, with community engagement and so forth, the different engagement, we took the opportunity to continue to reiterate to the public about safety, not only just the business people, the communities on a whole, right, but we are still having a bit of challenge in terms of the robberies and the breaking offenses. Nonetheless, the police are working assiduously to deal with these offenses. And as I said, we are continuously imploring on the communities, the business owners, and the residents alike to apply safety measures.
Now, I know, as you mentioned, the robbery, I think it was on Christmas Eve night. Can you share any insight into that incident and whether investigations are ongoing? Are you guys any step closer to ensuring that the persons who were behind this act are closer to being put away?
Right. No, investigations are definitely ongoing, and that particular robbery was at gunpoint, right? So we have a lot of robberies that involve the use of a firearm, right? Now, there are no person held at this time, but we are receiving information and we are working towards solving that those offenses.
Now, when we compare this Christmas season to last Christmas, did we see an increase, decrease, or similar trend in reported crimes? Or
I would say we have a decrease. We definitely have a decrease, but the crimes were similar.
And from the TTPS's perspective, would you consider this Christmas season a success in terms of public safety? Yes, why? No, why?
I would say yes, because of the initiatives we had, pushing safety all the time, pushing communities, businesses to harden themselves at what we term becoming a hard target. Right? So yes, I would say it is safe, and we have less crime for this period as compared to the last period.
Apart from the 12 Days of Christmas initiative, were there any other strategies that the TTPS implemented to ensure that this Christmas was as safe as it was?
Well, as usual, we have a lot of operations, right? You know, we wouldn't sell out everything, right? But we usually have different operations throughout the island, and that was instrumental in lowering the crime rate.
Okay, awesome. So now we're going to move on a bit to fireworks and public safety. I know in this media space and the nation as a whole, we know the Prime Minister would have implemented stricter fines for persons who were operating with fireworks outside of the regulated norm. Now, fireworks have been a major topic of discussion this Christmas, especially with the calls from the government. Can you explain to the public what the law says about the legal and illegal use of fireworks for those who may not know?
All right. So we have some amendment to the Summary Offences Act with respect to the discharge of fireworks. Now we must have a permit. You must have a permit. That's Section 99 of the Summary Offences Act states that you must have a permit in order to discharge the fireworks. All right, we're just going it step by step. Now that you have the permit, right? You apply for the permit, you get the permit. The permit will stipulate time, date, and place, and it possibly would have other restrictions that you have to adhere to. So the time, date, and place cannot be compromised, meaning, all right, you said you're doing that fireworks 8 o'clock at Shore Park, you can't change the time, you can't change the location. And now that you have the permit, as I said, we're going step by step, right? Now that you have the permit, you are supposed to inform the fire service about the provisions of that permit. Along with EMA and a few other entities, you must inform. And that's supposed to be within 14 days of you getting the permit. So you see, everything's supposed to be done timely, right? Now, notwithstanding that, the law also states that there are certain places that you must not, or provisions that you must take into consideration when discharging those fireworks. So let us look at the hospital. The law states that within a half-mile radius, whether the hospital is public or private, no discharging of fireworks. Animal shelter, no discharging of fireworks in terms of a half-mile radius. Right? In terms of residential, it must not be discharged on any street next to any home or any vehicle. So you know that rules out those residential areas as well. Right? And, you know, we go on to, you know, we have to have this permit for this particular time, right? Now, let us look at, they have some exceptions. You don't need a permit now to discharge the fireworks on public holidays, and it specifies the 31st of December. And you know we're in that season, right? Yes. When we bring in the new year. So on the 31st of December, you don't need a permit, but there are still restrictions, right? You still have to adhere to don't discharging it in the different places, right? But there's a specific period on public holidays between the hours of 8 p.m. and 9 p.m. That's the restriction. You don't need a permit, but 8 p.m. to 9 p.m., that is the period you would discharge those fireworks. And on the 31st of December, you could do the fireworks without the permit again between the hours of 11:30 and 12:30 a.m. the following day. So those are the only periods that the law provides that you don't need a permit, but you still have the restriction of when you could discharge those fireworks.
Awesome. Now, could you clearly outline the fines and penalties associated with unlawfully using fireworks, especially those without permits? And I know you mentioned that there are specific time periods, especially during December 31st, that people can utilize the fireworks without a permit, but just share with the public the fines and the penalties to ensure that they...
Unfortunately, at this time, I can't spell them out, right? Spell out the offenses, but where they could find it is under Section 101 of the Summary Offences Offences Act, right? And as I said, it was amended, and it will be easily found on the internet.
Awesome. Now, there are some public concerns when it comes to reporting fireworks and people using it outside of their intended purpose. So, for example, over the Christmas season, I'm sure that there were some people who would have experienced fireworks being discharged within their residential areas, who have animals who would have been displaced because of the fireworks being used outside of its intended purpose.
Right.
Because I think I saw also as well in the public domain, people are saying that they would reach out to the TTPS to probably report that this is what is going on, and they aren't getting the response that they want to get. Now, can you explain how these matters are treated operationally with the TTPS? How should they report? What are some of the things that they should give to the police to ensure that this is dealt with in the way that it should?
No, definitely. Now, I would have said that, spoke about the residential area, right? So even if there's a particular place you discharge that fireworks must not create a nuisance or any danger as well to any person. So persons can call and report those incidents, and the police will take action. Now I know the TTPS would have made a media release with respect to this, and we will be out there, right, to treat with those issues in terms of the illegal discharge of those fireworks.
Now, what information is most helpful when members of the public are reporting the illegal fireworks, and how can they assist officers in responding more effectively?
Right. As usual with any report, you will give us the location, right? You don't necessarily have to give the name per se, right? But the location is important and what is taking place there, right? And yes, I guarantee you that the police would respond.
I think that's what a lot of people want to ensure, that when they make a report, it is responded to. Is there a preferred time or method for reporting these incidents to increase chances of enforcement, or it doesn't matter at all?
It doesn't matter, right? But you can call. We have all the different platforms that you can report via phone, email, 999, which is very easy for most of us. Right? Or you can actually call this station. You may see an officer on patrol, police vehicles on patrol. You can alert the vehicles as well. And let me assure the public that the police will be very visible, right? We are visible and we continue to be visible, especially during this time.
Now we're going to move on to a bit of road safety. I know during the Christmas season we usually get a lot of vehicular accidents. Were there many reported accidents over the Christmas period, or was that alleviated as well?
No, we had a few reports. I think two of them was kind of serious. Let me say kind of serious. They were serious, right? But based on other years, it was at a minimal, right? So I guess that persons are adhering to, having a designated driver and so forth. This is the season where person will be liming a lot, consuming a lot of alcohol, and we always advise have a designated driver. And the police are always out there. We are doing the breathalyzer testing and so forth, right? It takes one incident, and the public will always cry out and say the police not doing their duty. But yes, we are out there. We are doing a lot of breathalyzer testing, right? And we continue to implore on the public while we are out there on patrol, right, to take measures for your safety, and your safety include road safety as well. So your outlinemen have a designated driver.
And in line with ensuring that the public has a designated driver during this time where it's all festive and you're enjoying yourself, can you again reiterate to the public some of the safety tips, especially when it comes to road safety and being a motorist on the road, some of the things to look out for, not only in terms of ensuring that you get home safely, but in terms of securing your property once more?
Right. Now, persons tend to leave items in vehicles and so forth. We always advise against that. Like you might leave your handbag or your laptop on the seat of your vehicle, that tend to draw attention to person, and they might break into your vehicle as well. We also admonish people to adhere to the road signs, the traffic lights, right? Amber doesn't mean that you speed up, right? You go on green, right? And always look out for the person in front of you. And remember that you're a driver, but you're not only driving for yourself, right? You have to be looking out for the other persons around. You know, the law also states that, you know, there's a certain distance you will be behind another vehicle, and generally persons don't adhere to that, right? Or if you find somebody adhering to that aspect, you'll find somebody tooting their own and so forth, right? Tooting their own for them to go up. But just continue to admonish persons to adhere to the traffic laws and keep safe.
This morning, I want to thank you so much, ASP Williams, for coming and sharing the tips, for highlighting to the public, to Tobago, some of the decreases we have had as compared to the previous year to now. I want to thank the TTPS for continuing the work that they are doing within the Tobago space, and that we are seeing the work. And to thank you, and that the officers would continue to do everything to the best of their ability to ensure that the law is enforced. And to you, our viewers, we want to thank you so much for joining us this morning on Tobago Updates. That was ASP Williams giving the crime updates over the Christmas season. And I want to remind you to share the live, and stay right here. We're going over to GMT up next.
World AIDS Day has been recognized since 1988, and over the years it has grown into a meaningful global tradition. It brings together governments, health workers, advocates, families, youths, everyone, because the fight against HIV is something we all share responsibility for.
So, World AIDS Day is important because we need to continually remember that we are still dealing with HIV and AIDS in Trinidad and specifically in Tobago. This is an opportunity for us to continue the discussion. This is an opportunity to remind the population that, you know, we have these STIs that are running around. If we are not safe, we will not be healthy. So I appreciate this opportunity, and I particularly appreciate the fact that we are focusing on the young people for this World AIDS Day, because that is what is really needed to change the culture that's required.
My experience was eccentric to say the very least. Our teacher, she worked wonderfully, even with disruptions into the class. She worked with them instead of circling around them or going over them. She made them part of the lesson and made the learning experience beautiful. I hope that it serves to actually better educate the people, to get rid of the old people stigma that we got from our parents, grandparents, and thus forth. I hope that we can live a truer life with this knowledge and use this as a template to go forward for other problems that we may have.
I am white and I represent hope. Hope says your diagnosis is not your destiny, and today we stand on that truth, and we aim to change at least one mindset every time we speak.
Empathy reminds us they are living with HIV, not dying from it.
Boy, see what stuff? Boy, cool. When me know AIDS and like everybody there don't, I know just for it to me.
So tell me, where you really learn this ignorance to go and tell him you cannot give someone HIV by just touching them? So your friend running off and talking about that is not true.
What we were trying to discuss was the dissatisfaction with moral ed in the high schools, because we feel like they're not teaching enough, especially when it comes to preventing stigma against certain groups of people.
Peer training programs are programs that have always worked because you need people who are similar to design what the message should be and to share those messages to their counterparts. And that is in essence what peer training is. So having these individuals who are part of these, these technical vocational schools be the ones to get the correct information is really a good step to ensure that they pass that information on to the people who they are closest with. We each need to do our part. We each need to ensure that our health is comprehensive. That includes our mental health, that includes our physical health, that includes our emotional health, and our sexual health is critical to that. So don't forget it. It's not a taboo thing to talk about. It's not a taboo thing to actively work on. And yeah, I think we could do it.
Choose your choices wisely still, but at the end of the day, don't regret a single one of them. Because you are tomorrow.
This year's summit, it takes a slight different approach compared to last year. Based on the persons who had came, the students who had came, we felt that we should have a section focused for the students because that is where the agri-technology would start from, where the innovators are. So this year we take our focus on the students as well as we incorporated different persons within the country of Trinidad and Tobago. And we got exhibitors from right here on this island who are invested in innovation and agriculture and technology.
Produce Tobago is an online multi-vendor marketplace website which facilitates buying and selling along the agricultural value chain. So if you are selling agricultural inputs like fertilizer or seedlings, you can sell on the website. If you're an agro-processor, you could also sell your pepper sauces, your nuts, that sort of stuff on the website. Even if you provide agricultural services, as it says, it's agricultural technology, and I think that this is innovative in and of itself to bridge gaps in the agricultural landscape. So I felt like it was important to bring it to the people of Tobago.
I help companies, farmers, food processors, anywhere along the value chain, build and implement their food safety and quality management systems, as well as an educator, because that's where it starts. I think that it is important because it helps you not only be current and up to date, but with so many changes happening in the climate, it's important to leverage technology so that you don't be at a loss. Why not use the technology that we have available to us? Don't be afraid of it, to empower your operations so that you can be more efficient, effective, and profitable in the long run.
I'm here at the summit today to learn more about agriculture and to know how far agriculture can get. So normally I might think, well, agriculture is hard work, you had to labor, but coming to the summit teach me that how, well, agriculture is getting easier.
It's indeed a pleasure to be here today at the summit. On one hand, we're here to learn and grow as well, because, you know, with education, it's a thing that you keep learning as you go on. At the same time, we're also here to provide information on the impacts of forestry and the relevant information to stakeholders who will be here today.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
You're viewing Tobago Updates Television, your exclusive gateway to Tobago, broadcasting the beauty of this island paradise to the world.
Let's go!
Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. I am your host, Chanel Felix. And guys, you know, whenever you see me sitting here, it's because we're about to have those conversations that you want to have while I ask those questions that you want asked. But before we get into this morning's interesting topics and conversations, let's have our news in 90 seconds. The Tobago People's Party has refuted claims made by PNM candidate from Mason Hall North, Mariah Kwesi Devines, on Saturday night, who alleged that the future of the Unemployment Relief Program and CPEP employment was in jeopardy under the current administration. Reading from a document Devines claimed was sourced from the website of Attorney Martin George, referencing a specific ruling from the High Court of Trinidad and Tobago. He emphasized that the judgment established a legal precedent, that the THA is bound by national policy and directives set by the central government and cabinet. According to Devines, the court ruled that the THA cannot override or ignore these national policy directives, regardless of its own legislative agenda. However, in a media release yesterday evening, the TPP said the claims are false and reckless, stating that the THA has already received funds from the Ministry of Finance to pay both CPEP and URP workers for the fiscal year 2026. Additionally, motorists in Trinidad and Tobago will face sufficiently higher traffic fines starting January 1st, 2026. Following the publication of a new legal order published on Christmas Day, Legal Notice number 471 confirms widespread increases in fixed penalties for motor vehicle offences, many of which will double in cost. The move has generated harsh criticisms from online users and the opposition, who pointed out the stark contradiction following statements made by Kamala Persad-Bissessar in April 2024, when she criticized high traffic fines under the former PNM administration as a revenue-generating scheme and pledged to reduce penalties if elected. However, the Prime Minister sought to defend her government's decision, stating that the fines will not affect law-abiding citizens, but only those who seek to break the law. The Prime Minister said her administration made the decision based on public safety, noting that reckless drivers often endanger the lives of innocent road users. And finally, a 72-year-old pensioner was left homeless after his house was destroyed by a fire on Christmas Day. Cecil McKenna of Iron Ridge Bell Garden told police that he noticed smoke outside of his house after preparing a meal and briefly checked the premises but could not find the source before leaving. Later that day at around 5:30 p.m., he was informed that his house was on fire. When McKenna returned, his one-level, two-room wooden galvanized home was fully engulfed in flames. Fire officers from the Roxborough Fire Station responded. However, the structure could not be saved. Investigations are continuing. And that was our news in 90 seconds. This morning, I have the privilege to continue some political discussions that have been started earlier. And this morning, I have the opportunity to have that conversation with none other than Councillor Orlando Kerr, who is also the prospective candidate for Roxborough Argyle in the upcoming THA elections come January 12th, 2026. Good morning and welcome.
Hi, good morning, Chanel, and the rest of Tobago, and those who are listening on the international media.
Excellent. Well, first of all, I want to start off by saying season's greetings to you and your family. And maybe getting into your business a little bit, right? What did you do for the Christmas season? Well, how was that for you?
Well, I had a very low-key Christmas. I simply needed some rest because you know that we were on the campaign trail for weeks. A lot of walking and talking and interacting with people. So it was a welcome opportunity for me to simply get a little rest.
But do you actually rest though? Because I feel like that's the period where everybody wants to call and send greetings or, just tell you that, Christmas is not the best for some people within the district. Yeah. And, to allow you to even jump into representation mode even during that period. So was that happening? And if so, how were you able to balance that?
Well, the reality is that when you are in public life, there isn't really any rest because you constantly, as you said, have to respond to persons reaching out to you and all of that. But I try to get some rest in between. But I think that I'm okay now. I am a little bit rejuvenated now, and I'm ready to go.
What are the plans for the new year? Are you going to try to, give the family some more time, or would you be spending that time with members of your district?
Well, the immediate plans is to try to get through this period. Of course, we have a few more days before election, and that's the immediate goal for me. After that, I will see how it goes.
Understood. And some persons are not very familiar with you, and some persons, when they refer to you as Tutor's Pitbull, right? The guy who would go to the ends of the earth to really ruffle some feathers, even as it pertains to fighting for the issues for Tobago teachers. Tell us a bit about that aspect of your career and how that has truly shaped your move into the political scene.
Well, truth be told, when I became Tobago officer, I had no intentions to be a politician. As a matter of fact, we have a joke in Twitter, because I had assured my colleagues that I am not going to get into politics, because I had my thoughts about politicians. So it's kind of funny that I actually got into politics. But at the time, I believed in representing without fear or favor. And I knew who my clients were, right? The teachers. And that was my main goal, to represent the persons who I gave that assurance that I would represent them without fear or favor. So when I became Tobago officer at various levels with the Ministry of Education, with the Teaching Service Commission, with the Division of Education in Tobago, the Ministry of Education in Trinidad, my main objective was to improve the terms and conditions of the teachers. And when I came into office in 2014, there were many issues that were affecting Tobago teachers in particular. And so I basically had to champion the cause of Tobago teachers in terms of getting some of those issues resolved.
Right. But you were also the Assistant Secretary at the Division of Education at one point in time. And one of those issues that still pervade teachers to this day is the issue of the classification of leave being done in Tobago. And from my conversations with Braden Roberts, I would understand that these conversations started even since you were tutor representative. And he highlighted the fact that there are possibly like 4 teachers on this current administration, including yourself, a past teacher and a tutor representative, yet the issue has not yet been fully resolved, although it is in the process, I believe, based on conversations with the secretary. Tell us a bit about that, and how is that a situation that is still bothering teachers to this day?
Well, the reality is that situation, as far as I'm aware, is basically resolved. It's just some paperwork to be done. I had worked on that issue from 2014 to 2020 without any real progress. I took it to the CPO, I took it to the minister at the time. I even, as I said, was always on the agenda for discussion with the Ministry of Education. At every turn, there was always agreement, because it really was not a practical thing to have teachers leave, go to Trinidad to be classified. But there was never any movement. There was the fact that you would have been asking and pleading and so on, and there was always a positive answer for you, but there was never any movement. Within the last few months that this new government has been in office, we have actually gotten movement to the point that we have gotten already written documentation, and it is just to finalize. So within, as I said, about 4 to 5 months, we have actually moved more than we would have moved over the last few years. And that is the reality of the fact that it's not about what people say, but it's about what people do. Because we have been championing this for years and never got any traction, any headway with it. And within a few months, we got it, basically. So it's basically done, as far as we're concerned. It's just to iron out the few little technical points and so on.
Okay, going back a bit to Christmas, I saw on TikTok a number of persons from your district were posting you in the area giving out toys and giving out hampers and stuff. But, on further investigation, going to your own social media pages, I did not see any of that on your particular social media. So You know, that was one of the things that stood out to me. So I'm trying to understand exactly why didn't you post, you know, some of those Christmas interactions that you had with members of your district?
Well, if you have been following me, you would realize that I do things a little bit differently. I'm a more low-key kind of person. If you go back to when we were doing the screening and so on, I think that things must be done for the right reasons. And I know that we are in an age now where social media is a big part of it.
Yeah, they say if you don't post it, you didn't do it.
Yes, but for me, I think helping people is what is most important. You know, over the years, I've seen that persons have gone and saying that they're going to assist people, but at the same time, they're going into the person's homes and they're showing the deplorable conditions that they live in, and they're taking photos and they're taking all the credit for helping people. But the reality is that if you really help people, then your good name will be out there. It doesn't have to be on social media. For me, the most important aspect of what happened during that period is that we got the help to the people. We were able to give the children toys and so on, and that is what was most important to me. So the posting of it on my page really wasn't a major for me, you know, because that is how I am. I don't think about taking photos. I don't think about doing videos. It's not the first thing that will come to my mind.
Understood. And to you, what was most important in those interactions with members of your district during that Christmas period?
Well, one of the things that we recognize is that there are many persons who I need, and, you know, we were able to give assistance. But for me, Christmas is about children. I always say that. So, you know, being able to hand out toys for the children and so on, that was really, really, really the high point for me, you know. But Christmas is about children for me.
Understood. Again, you know, we had this conversation very recently about some of the initiatives that you discussed that have happened within your district. You know, persons, you look online, you hear persons comparing what did the TPP administration do within the last 4 years compared to the 21 years of the People's National Movement being in power. Are there any things that you think persons often overlook that that took place within the last 4 years in your district particularly?
No, I think that there are many things, because, you know, in terms of interacting with people, many persons look at what they got for themselves. So if they got their roof changed or they got a retaining wall built at their home, then something was done. But many people don't look at the bigger picture. I remember feeling very disappointed when I was interacting with a gentleman in Louisville, and I pointed out that, you know, we spent almost approximately $3 million to install lights. And his response was, I don't go there. And I guess it's about more educating our public about these initiatives that are community-based. Because although you may not go there personally, it will impact on you, because no man is an island. And if it is that the youths in the community are given amenities that will enhance them and will keep them out of trouble and out of drugs and so on, it affects you. But some people don't see it that way. But I think one of the big ticket items in my district would be that new agro-processing facility that is being built. I think that is going to be a major you are not coming to me right now.
Milestone.
But yes, because it gives persons in the community an opportunity. All those persons who are farmers, all those persons who would be able to go to that facility and do that agro-processing. It's going to be a major.
One of the initiatives that you did highlight was the land distribution for agricultural lands that's happening in Lamy Road in the Roxborough area, the Roxborough Area. Tell us a bit about that.
Well, of course, remember, we have been looking at sustainability in terms of food production, and Tobago eventually reaching that milestone where we can feed ourselves. I know that Secretary Pantin has started the mega farm project and so on. So this is just one out of the many projects across Tobago where we are going to be encouraging farmers to plant and to produce more food. And I mean, that goes without any kind of explanation. where I think this is the Chief Secretary's baby, where he would have put in all the facilities and amenities and make it easy. There are kiosks with solar power and so on, and water and everything. So you simply have to just go in and just and start producing.
So is this project for land farmers who struggle with land tenure issues as it pertains to applying their trade?
Well, yes, because persons who are going to be given the lands are persons who did not have lands before, so that they would now be able to feel comfortable. There's a certain level of security that you have. You don't have to worry about the land issue. As I said, everything is being put in place, so all you need to do is simply go and start producing.
Right. What are some of the key initiatives that you truly believe have to be done within the next 4 years in that district? Just being practical, you may have a laundry list of things that that you want to be done, but practically, what are some of the things that you think are some of the non-negotiables that have been highlighted to you during those walkabouts?
I think, as I said on many previous interviews, the issue of training. I am really concerned about the younger generation, maybe because my background is teaching. I think that we have too many unskilled young people in Tobago who are seeking employment, but the reality is that there are only so many of those kinds of employment opportunities. Additionally, if you want to build Tobago into the greatest little island on the planet, then we cannot do that with the morning work, as we say in Tobago. We have to try to equip our young people to take advantage of the opportunities that will be coming to this island. So I think that training of our young people is extremely important, and not necessarily always in the traditional areas, but even in the non-traditional areas. Right? Because I think that one of the things that I want to explore in our area is boat building. I think that is something that we don't have many persons with that skill. Simple things like backhoe operators and those kinds of things where we need people. So outside of the traditional masonry and carpentry and those things, there are other areas that are non-traditional that I believe that we need to start trying to have the young people engage in, so that they have that skill, so that they can retool themselves into becoming more employable.
Understood. But we're going to take a quick break right here, and we'll be back with much more conversations with Councillor Orlando Kerr after this. See you soon.
Coconut's Cafe, the buffet restaurant that specializes in all your tasty local dishes. For breakfast and for lunch. Breakfast includes coconut bake and sada roti, served with chokers, bull joil, and sausages in tomato sauce. Not forgetting beef and cheese pies, shepherd's pie, macaroni pie, and rice in various styles. Meat served in a variety of flavors, garden salads, and pasta salads. All this accompanied by fruit juices, coconut water, your choice of a great combination to appease your taste buds. So call us today to order, as we are here to accommodate your busy schedules, or if you are having a cooking day off.
Are you in a dispute with a registered investment service provider of the TTSEC? Or maybe you're the victim of an investment scam? You can lodge a complaint or submit an anonymous tip to the Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission. Download our Investor Protection app or go to ttsec.org.tt to access our complaint form or submit an anonymous tip. Write a clear summary of your complaint. Submit copies of supporting documents along with the originals for verification. Provide a copy of the feedback received from the entity regarding your complaint. All investor complaints or scam reports submitted by the public are acknowledged and reviewed by the TTSEC. Investigations are pursued based on the outcome of the review. Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission, protecting the interests of investors and the public. You invest, we protect. Everyone benefits.
Our world is filled with rhythm. Rhythm that's unapologetic, infectious, timeless. Rhythm is commitment in action. It's how we show up for each other with unrelenting support that goes the distance. Rhythm lives in the tiny beats of our most intimate moments and the seismic roars of our biggest achievements. Rhythm is resilience in motion. So even when things go out of sync, we do what it takes to bring the rhythm back. At Flow, we understand your rhythm because we live it. That's why we're dedicated to building a network as resilient as you, with a team of familiar faces working every day to keep you on beat. You're at the heart of everything we do, and our commitment is to keep your rhythm flowing, no matter what.
Tobago. Thank you guys so much for sticking with us this morning. We continue our discussions with Councillor Orlando Kerr, who is also the prospective candidate for Roxborough Argyle. Good morning and welcome back, Mr. Kerr. So, in my news in 90 seconds this morning, I would have highlighted an issue where the PNM prospective candidate for Masonol North, Mariah Kwesi Devines, took to his platform recently to state categorically that based on a previous ruling in the High Court, this is information that he got from the website of Martin George, right? That based on previous rulings in a previous case that the Tobago House of Assembly cannot do or hold any policies that contradict with those of the central government. Do you have any comments on him suggesting that because of this precedent that has been set, that the URP and CPEP program, as a result, will be dismantled?
Coincidentally, I spoke on this issue at a meeting that we had in Charlottesville with the Chief Secretary, and I did get the information from the Secretary of Finance as it relates to the releases for both CPEP and URP. It is very unfortunate that this continues, but it is typical of the PNM that they continue regardless of it being debunked on many issues that they believe that will catch with the population, that will scare people into voting in a particular way. It is no secret that CPEP in Trinidad, the structure of CPEP in Trinidad is different to that in Tobago. CPEP in Trinidad was carried out by contractors. And that is the reason why I think the government disbanded CPEP, by the way, because there was so much corruption and how many persons who were affiliated to the PNM who had contracts, CPEP contracts, right? That was a major challenge from what I understood. In Tobago, CPEP is run by the Division of Community Development. It is run by the government. So it is totally different. The structure is totally different in Tobago. As a matter of fact, I was told that the government in Trinidad want to mirror something as to what we are doing in Tobago, because we have been doing it right. Additionally, let me just say as well that we in Tobago, without any policy from the central government, were able to increase the salary of both CPEP and URP. So if what Mr. Devines is saying is correct, then we would have had to get permission from Trinidad to increase the salaries of CPEP and URP workers in Tobago. We were also able to change the terms and conditions of employment in terms of giving them holidays and all of these things without any permission from central government. It was also out there in the public space, and the information could be gotten that we have already gotten the releases for fiscal 2026. So if it is that Mr. Devines really wanted to find out what was happening with CPEP and URP, the information is available. This is clear. It's a scare tactic. It is, as we said, doom and gloom, trying to influence the vote in a particular direction. This administration has shown that it cares about its people. And that is why our theme for this election is Tobago is we. And that wasn't chosen lightly. It is because we are concerned about our people. And we have shown that every step of the way. Because as I said, one of the first things that we did, we increased the salaries of these persons. That was one of the first things that we did when we came in as an administration, even under the financial pressure that we were under, right? So that this whole issue of trying to scare persons and saying that CPEP and URP workers will be sent home, it is not true. We have given the assurance, the Chief Secretary has done so, the Secretary of Finance has done so. I have also come out and said that it is not true, but it is typical that they will continue to say it. I'm sure that even with all information available, they will continue to say it. One of my challenges to the media is that when these things are being reported and you're getting two sides, okay, so we are saying that they're not going to be sent home and they're saying that they're going to be sent home. I challenge the media to do some research. I challenge the media to do some research because they will continue to peddle these untruths out there, right? And the information is available, right? So once and for all, the media can bring the both sides, and then they could also show, because that's one of the things I looked at when I was following like the American elections and so on. They will report both sides, and then you will hear the media saying, well, based on their research, this is the situation or that is the situation. So that these are the things that I think the media should be, taking up. When you have contradicting sides, you do your research and the information is available, and you will be able to say what is the truth. Because it is really a very difficult situation to have people going out there and trying to scare people. Again, I listen to the rhetoric of the political leader of the PNM. Again, this UNC and this race baiting. That is what it is.
I understand. However, this is something that would have been brought to the forefront in the previous election, THA election, and from the relationship between the TPP and the UNC, with the Prime Minister coming to Tobago and giving that license for the quarry and other communication between the Chief Secretary and the Prime Minister. Many persons may assume that there is a coalition or a partnership, specifically due to the fact that the two Tobago representatives in the parliament currently sit on the side of the government as opposed to the opposition side. So tell us a bit about that.
Well, truth be told, who would you work with? Someone who shows you respect? Someone who has demonstrated that they are willing to work with you? Because that is what has happened since the new government came into office. And I can list numerous things. As you rightfully said, we were trying to get this export license for the quarry for years. We didn't get it under the previous administration. We got it in a few months under this administration. We were trying to get a higher budgetary allocation for years. We didn't get it under the previous administration. We got it under this administration. We are seeing levels of cooperation by all the ministers that we have never seen before. So should we just simply look for a fight, for wanting of a better word, with no good reason? That does not make any sense. As soon as things change, or if something changes where we need to stand up for the people of Tobago, we will. So there is not a need for that posturing right now. But of course, the other side is trying to behave as though there is a need for that. There isn't. Because we have seen levels of cooperation that we weren't getting before. And if that changes, you will soon see our representatives in Trinidad, Mr. Sampson and Mr. Thomas, they will speak against it. And our Chief Secretary will speak against it. Right. So we are for Tobago. And what is in the best interest of Tobago, we will do.
And even as it pertains to issues that this administration sees the need to speak up against, one of those issues that has been raised consecutively, recently, is the issue of the radar being placed in Tobago and little to no information being given to the Tobago House of Assembly as it pertains to that. And even the Prime Minister coming out to say that this is to alleviate an issue as it pertains to narcotics trafficking and other drug-related crimes in Trinidad. And though Tobago may not be facing, such high levels of drug trafficking and drug-related crime incidences, it is something that Trinidad has to continue to deal with. Do you not see that as also being an issue that this administration should have stood up against, having that radar on the island of Tobago as opposed to having it in Trinidad?
Well, Chanel, the reality is that there is some information that is always sensitive when it comes to national security. And I don't know that we can simply make a judgment call, being laymen, without all the information. It has always been the situation where things happen, and for national security reasons, you don't always get all of the information. I think the bigger issue is our autonomy. I think that is where we need to take the conversation. So once we have that autonomy issue sorted, then all the roles and responsibilities of whoever will be clear. Until that happens, right? Until that happens, national security is a sixth schedule item. And therefore, it will always be an issue that might be a bit contentious. It will not always be, as we might like it. But that is the reality. And what we need to focus on, we can't focus on this single matter here, because in my view, it has been peddled and escalated to a point where it doesn't need to go, based on my information of what a radar is. But then, of course, when persons are grasping at straws, these are things that will happen. So I'm not going to even focus on that. I will leave my chief secretary to discuss the whole issue of the radar. But I'm saying that it's a bigger issue of our autonomy, which is one of the issues that we are going to be championing as soon as we return to office. It is on the front burner. It is one of the major issues that we must champion, because you can't single out issues and think that you're going to fix them like that. You have to fix the whole issue of autonomy. And once you fix that, then it will be clear as to what the roles and function of the chief secretary will be in terms of national security and all of that. And that is why the bills were rejected, because those things were not clear. Right? And we're hearing persons saying that, well, if you had taken the bill, you would have gotten more money. Would have gotten more money and still be grappling with these kinds of situations. So it emphasizes the point that we were making all the time, that the bills were deficient and that we really need to sit and have comprehensive bills that speak to all of these issues.
Understood. Even as we wrap up our discussion this morning, there has been some speculation in the space as it pertains to your positioning post a successful TPP victory in this upcoming election. Persons are speculating that you would move back to the Division of Education, and that the Secretary for Education may be placed over at Tourism, where she functioned recently during the Carnival period. If you are placed in that seat, are there any particular plans that you have for improving education on the island that you are going to take over to that division?
Well, first, let me say that I have not really thought about where I would be, because I think, as you know me very well, I take it one step at a time. So my main focus now is to be successful at the polls. After that, it will be up to the chief secretary to determine where best he believes that he needs me. Whether it's a secretary or assistant secretary, doesn't matter. It's about serving the people, right? And I think that I have the capacity to function anyway, which I demonstrated when I went over to the Division of Settlements. So I have not really thought about it. Education is like the back of my hand, and therefore there are many issues still plaguing teachers in Tobago that, of course, will receive the necessary attention. But for now, I want to focus on getting past this hurdle, and then I would start thinking about the rest of it. But as I said, I have confidence in my chief secretary, and I think he knows the ability that I have, and that he will place me wherever he believes that he needs me to perform. And I will so do at that time.
Finally, is there anything that you want to say to members of your district this morning?
No, I think that I want to thank them for the support that I've received so far. I think that the support has been very, very overwhelming. And I think that many persons have, shown that they have a certain level of confidence in me. What I can say to the people of my district is that that confidence has been put in the right place, and that I will, if given the opportunity, represent you as I have done in the past without fear nor favor, and I will bring a lot of changes to the district of Roxborough-Argyle.
Understood. We want to thank you so much for your time this morning, and again, we're wishing you all the best in your upcoming THA elections. Come January 12th, Tobago, this is your candidate for Roxborough-Argyle. For the TPP, Mr. Orlando, or Councillor Orlando Kerr, former tutor representative for Tobago. Guys, we're going to take a quick break right here, and we'll be back after this. See you soon.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
Want to get better? Where to start? What kind of exercise to do? What to eat? How to get restful sleep? Need a doctor to search for root cause? Look no further. Come to Majuba Hill Lifestyle Center Foundation at our Wellness Center in Goodwood, or Food Hub in Darrow Springs, Scarborough, or Doctor's Office in Goodwood and Darrow Spring. Contact 49SWIFT 4979438.
MI4 Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash and transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
Tobago, the sun is rising, and so are the conversations that matter, from the economy to education, from healthcare to community voices. No spin, no fluff, just facts, truth, and clarity. Join me, Lavian, as we cover the issues that shape our lives, the stories we can't ignore. We bring them to the table and ask the questions you want answered.
Good morning, and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates, guys. We've already started chatting without you. This morning we're talking with Dr. Verna Allen, who is a physical therapist and a lifestyle and disease practitioner. This morning we've already started chatting about small steps towards a healthier lifestyle in 2026. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you. It's indeed a pleasure to be here once again, and I am really amazed or encouraged to have the opportunity to really be here to talk to the people of Tobago.
Excellent. And if our viewers are anything like me and they have already begun setting out their goals and resolutions and strategies and vision boards for 2026, I'm almost sure that health and fitness and some weight loss and just some overall holistic enhancements is somewhere there in those plans for next year. So, even in your capacity, tell us a bit about how persons can implement some very practical steps that doesn't make it seem like too much of a great mountain to climb in achieving some of those goals next year.
Awesome. That's an excellent question. So, The first thing is that we have to manage our expectations. The weight didn't come on overnight, so therefore it's not going to go away overnight. Anything that we have to do is a journey. When it comes to managing our lifestyle or improving our health, it's really about the journey that you're about to embark on. So for the same way you have to go shop for a new hairstyle every week to look fresh and you get your nails done on a regular basis, you have to keep renewing that commitment to yourself. So it's not, okay, I'm going to go on XY diet, I'm going to start running every day, or I'm going to, all these lofty vision boards and goals and aspiration, they come to naught if you're not consistent. So the key is to be kind to yourself and be consistent. Consistency is key.
And consistency comes with incorporating those goals into more than goals, but into a lifestyle.
Into the lifestyle.
Right. So tell us about that, because you hear a lot of lifestyle related coaches saying it's not about what you want to achieve, but what does the person who you want to be do on a regular basis. If you want to be a healthier person, what does the lifestyle of that person look like? And implementing those lifestyle related components into your everyday, day-to-day life management.
And that is critical. You see, people look at the big ads on TV. Come January morning, you will see the next app to purchase, the next drink, the next fad to jump on board with to improve your to improve your lifestyle. But essentially what lifestyle boils down to is exercise or movement, because movement is medicine, what we eat and how much of it we eat, when we eat, because of course if we're eating too late, it will disturb our sleep and we will not get restful sleep for our bodies to recover and rejuvenate. We need to sleep well, so we need to put down the phones, turn off the TV, and target for 7 to 8 hours of sleep. We need to get good friends, a good positive community. We need to avoid toxic substances, the alcohol, the drugs, the tobacco, everything that falls into that category of toxic substances, including toxic friends. So when we say lifestyle, it's not just about exercising, because you can exercise and still be unhealthy. It's combining all the other components, the sleep, the moderation in alcohol, or if possible, abstaining from alcohol, and moving as much as possible. In Tobago, a lot of people say, okay, I'm going up French Fort every morning. And we think that we're doing something major, because when we're walking back down French Fort, we're having an energy drink. Well, you undid everything that you did walking up French Fort. And then we think that 1 hour in French Fort is it. It's not. So if we think about how our ancestors used to be, they would walk a mile to their garden a mile or two. They would work in their garden, physically work, and then they will walk back home, and then they will come home and look after their animals. So there was a lot of physical activity back in the day. What we do now is we drink a smoothie in the morning, and most of the time we consuming smoothies, they're like dessert. And we think we're having something good. So we have a banana with our apple and our oats. That's dessert.
So are you coming for my meal replacement smoothie protein shake? Are you coming for it? Like, what are we saying here this morning?
It depends on what's in the protein shake, because you can actually be having dessert for breakfast.
Well, we have the oats, we have the chia seeds, we have the frozen fruit, and the protein powder.
So it depends on how much you're drinking. So while the protein powder may be good, then you have to ask what's in the protein powder. Do you have maltodextrin? Do you have sucralose? Do you have a ton of additive that's actually toxic for your body in your protein shake? Is it clean protein shake you're drinking?
How do you let's talk about that particularly, because you know, even as you are on that type of fitness journey, persons want to ensure that they do meet those protein goals in order to maintain lean muscle and also help to lose weight. So how does one differentiate between good protein and bad protein?
I don't want to be religious and say good or bad protein,
Right.
but before you and I were human beings, our ancestors ate meat, real meat. There were no protein shake, and the hospitals weren't as full as they are right now. So when sometimes we put in a protein shake, but we did not read the ingredient list. And if we read the ingredient list, you will see that the sucralose is very toxic to your gut. It actually messes with your brain and your metabolism, but we're drinking it in our protein shake. What is the protein made of? Is it whey protein? Is it clean protein? So once we start to get things complex, we might be hurting ourselves more, because these are things that are marketed to us. They're made in a factory. 2 eggs is great, you know. 2 eggs is great. It's a great source of protein. Chicken left over from last night without the barbecue sauce is a great source of protein. So once we focus on the unprocessed stuff, we're going to be on the road to a cleaner health. If we look at oats, the question becomes, how much oats are you drinking? Because oats primarily breaks down to sugars. So when you put in oats and banana, it could be a lot of sugars we are consuming. And that's why it could be a dessert. So you have your fruits, which is also sugar. You have your banana, more sugar. I'm not saying they don't have vitamins and mineral, but it's sugar layered on sugar, layered on sugar. So that's why in the lifestyle space, we see it as dessert.
Understood. Even for persons with diabetes and other non-communicable diseases, do you encourage them to take these things every now and then?
I encourage people to eat real food. And with the non-communicable disease, of course, 80% of non-communicable disease as a result of lifestyle choices. So whether the choices are conscious or unconscious. So, for example, I'll give you as my example. I'm genetically predisposed to diabetes. So what I have to do, because I know my father, my aunts, my cousin, everybody, they have diabetes or had diabetes. So I check my blood sugars regularly, my A1C regularly, and I have to see where it's going, where it's trending. I check to see where my cholesterol is. So if I see my A1C trending up, what do I have to do differently? Did I eat a lot of dessert last month because it was my birthday? Did I celebrate a little too much? Am I sleeping enough? Where's my stress? Those blood results give me a lot of information that I can work with.
So those A1C?
Your hemoglobin A1C, your cholesterol, your liver function, all those give you information as to how you're doing.
So would that, when you're talking about the levels, would that also indicate if you are pre-diabetic?
Yes, most definitely. So I myself was pre-diabetic at one time, and depending on how I live, how I eat, I could slide back over into pre-diabetic numbers. So when I see my hemoglobin A1C move from 5.3 to 5.7 or 5.5, I know I have to take a change. And I'm going to do it in 4 months again to see if my change is working. So does it mean that am I eating too late? Because that could increase my blood sugar. Am I stressing out too much? If I'm stressing out too much, what's the stressor? Do I have control over my stressors? Because that too will increase your blood sugar.
Right.
Am I moving enough during the day, or am I sitting too much? How about the snacks, even the healthy ones? Am I snacking too much? You know, so it's a journey. There is never an end to this. It's a constant fight, but you take small steps. You get to know yourself. You can't lie to yourself and say, oh, I exercise. I just walk, is what people tell me. Well, I know you do walk, but how much?
Correct.
You walk from the door to here, but is that
But
enough
are you getting
to
10K
sustain?
steps in?
Right. Is that enough to sustain your health? Is that enough to manage your pain? You know, a lot of people have multiple joint pain because they're not moving enough. So
even young people too.
Even young people. So there is a connection between the food, the sleep, the energy drinks, and the amount
And
of
the
pain that
movement,
you
too.
feel. Yeah. So you have to fit everything into the equation and manage you from inside out.
All right, looking at 2026, the year ahead for persons who have set those goals of being healthier, fitter, you know, and just living a better lifestyle holistically. You know, persons often say, know your numbers or get checked up. Don't wait until something happens in order to know. Now you have to be rushed to get blood work done, right? Now you have to rush to get labs back, or maybe you get pregnant, and that's when you really find out where you are on the spectrum. If persons want to do a yearly checkup or bi-yearly or biannually, sorry, what are some of those? Because you spoke about some of them. What are some of those key things that you think they should go and get blood work done and take it to their doctor to have an assessment, even if they have to go and do it privately? What are some of the key tests that they should do?
So I would first of all say that in Tobago, we're in a great space where we have the most health centers in this side of the world. So people can walk in and have a conversation with your doctor and say, hey, I need to get fit. I need to start an exercise program. So before you do anything, get cleared with your doctor that you're healthy enough to start. Doc, I need to know my sugar levels. I see some darkness around my neck. I see some darkness around my eyes. I need to know where I am on the diabetic spectrum. I need to know where my cholesterol is. I need to know if my liver is working well, and I need to know if my kidney is working well. That's a start. The other thing that we tend to overlook is the importance of vitamin D, because
Correct.
it is both a hormone and a vitamin. And most of us girls don't like the sun. So if we don't like the sun, if we don't spend enough time in the sun, we are setting ourselves up to even be more exposed to diabetes, cardiovascular diseases, and all the other health-related issues, because we need vitamin D to be the hormone or the intermediator to absorb some of our vitamins, to make things work in our body. So if we're staying away from the sun because we have bleach on our skin, because we don't want to look too dark, then we need to talk to our doctor about getting tested for vitamin D levels and the safe vitamin D level supplementation.
And we are lucky being in the Caribbean region that we are not like those that are in the first world country, where as soon as late September straight up to April, they have to be on vitamin D supplements because there's almost no sunlight, you know, or if they get sunlight maybe for 3 hours within the day during the winter period. And, you know, I remember those conversations about vitamin D being like the happy supplement that really helps to manage, you know, help with people who fight with anxiety and all of that during the winter period, who have those seasonal depression and things like that. So even though we are in the Caribbean, we are lucky to have the vitamin D outside.
Yes, we are lucky to have it outside, but a lot of us don't take advantage of it because we get dropped off right in front of our doorsteps. And then we're in the building all day. We don't go outside at all, not even for 10 minutes. And then we go home and we do everything indoors. So a lot of us, especially a lot of us women, we don't get much sun exposure. And some of us deliberately avoid the sun. So while we should have good levels of vitamin D in this region, for some of us we don't, because we are not exposed to the sun enough.
Right. Even as we round off our discussion this morning, one of the things that I really wanted to ask about, I won't say it's a fad, right? But it has recently grown in popularity. That's the GLP-1 supplements for persons who are really struggling with weight loss. You know, we have the triceptide and the Ozempic and other brand names, but really fall under the GLP branding. Are these things accessible to persons in Tobago who are interested in the weight loss supplements? How can they get access to it? And what are some of the precautions that you advise when using these supplements?
Okay, so first of all, I'm not a medical doctor. Okay. I'm a physical therapist and lifestyle disease practitioner. There is a space for those supplementations or for those medications, and there are physicians I know of in Trinidad, I'm not sure in Tobago, who prescribe them. Again, these are medication. They are not a substitute for a lifestyle change. They are to assist with your journey, but they are not a substitute. And for someone wanting to go on it, I will strongly advise that you have a consultation with your doctor. If there's a GI specialist, you talk to your doctor about getting referred to the physician who is most qualified to administer them to you. These are relatively new drugs. So I'm always cautious about new drugs and the long-term impact that we have not yet discovered. So the safest way is the lifestyle way. But if that is the hard way, it is still the best way to go, because even after being on those drugs for a period of time, you still need to get strong. You still need to be flexible. Yeah. You still need to sleep. To
build that control with eating.
You still need to build your muscles. You still need to have good friends. You still need to avoid the cigarette and the alcohol. You know, so you really cannot walk away from the lifestyle change that we need to make to continue to enjoy a relatively healthy life.
Understood. Well, I want to thank you so much for being here this morning and you know, giving us those tips and those words of encouragement that, you know, we can definitely do it and get the job done come 2026. But guys, unfortunately, this is where we round off our discussion this morning here on GMT. I want to thank you so much for your likes, your shares, and your comments, and all that you have been doing and continue to do to make Tobago Updates the #1 broadcaster here on the island of Tobago. Again, I am Chanel Felix, and have a great day and an even better New Year. See you soon.
I say thanks a favor to wake up and hear me.